Hi, I'm Jamie Stoffenbiel, agronomist at Milorganite and self-proclaimed turf nerd. I've been in the turfgrass industry for over 25 years, so I know turf. What I didn't realize was the challenges that I would face growing in my own new lawn from seed. In this video and blog series, I'll take you through my experience and what I've learned in the process. I hope you can pick up a few tips so you're prepared to install your new lawn from seed. Brutal. That's the word I use to describe the weather since I seeded in my new lawn last fall. Brutal. And I'm not just complaining because my lawn was a late bloomer. Although fall is the best time to start a new lawn, the unusually hot weather last fall threw me a curveball. It happened to be the worst fall to start a lawn. The growing season in Wisconsin this past spring and summer were also the worst for starting a lawn in over 30 years. The weather was against me from the start. Southeastern Wisconsin didn't have much of a spring. It was cold, then it was too hot. In mid-April, we had 3 inches of snow, which damaged the newly emerged tender leaf blades. Shortly after that, the temperatures climbed to over 90, with lots of rain, then cold again, then the temperatures jumped back into the 90s with a dry spell. Soil with low fertility, combined with drought conditions, were the perfect conditions for my lawn to develop rust. I didn't do anything to treat it. I knew the lawn would grow out of it as soon as the drought was over. I'll stay on a regular fertilization schedule to improve the soil's fertility to help prevent future lawn diseases. I didn't treat for weeds in the spring because I knew I was going to overseed. It's best to hold off on overseeding until about 6 weeks after applying a herbicide to minimize residual on the lawn. Once the cold temperatures were behind us, or so I thought, I overseeded with Kentucky bluegrass and a starter fertilizer to help thicken the lawn. I kept up with the watering. Just 2 weeks later, it snowed. I couldn't catch a break. The weeds flourished in the thin lawn because there was little competition from the grass. Fourth of July, the weather was very hot and very dry. Perfect conditions for dollar spot. Dollar spot will find a home in either extreme, lawns that are too wet or too dry. Like the rust, I didn't treat it. I let it grow out on its own. I'll stick to my regular fertilization schedule with Milorganite, which will help the overall health of the lawn, making it less susceptible to lawn diseases. I'm not a fan of using herbicides on the entire lawn. I prefer to spot spray weeds. The weed population in my lawn was out of control, making spot treating weeds or removing them by hand impossible. I hired a lawn service to treat for weeds in mid-August when there were actually a few cool days. It took care of nearly 75% of the weeds. There's still some crabgrass and clover hanging on, but the weeds aren't nearly as bad as they were. I'll reevaluate the extent of the weeds again in spring. The weather my lawn was waiting for finally arrived at the end of September. It was perfect, lower temps and lots of rain. It only took a few days for the lawn to thicken up. I'll overseed and apply a starter fertilizer again this fall and close out the season with a dormant feeding of Milorganite around Thanksgiving. Starting my lawn from seed didn't go the way I expected it to. It's been a roller coaster ride. Through it all, although I was frustrated more than once, I wasn't concerned. I knew when the growing conditions were right, the lawn would take off, and it did. Even as an agronomist and self-proclaimed turf nerd, I learned a lot about starting a lawn from seed. I hope you learned something from my experiences with starting a new lawn from seed. Right now, the lawn looks pretty darn amazing. It's thick and green and soft enough to walk on barefoot. It's not a perfect lawn, but that's never been my goal. I want a lawn my family can use and enjoy, and I have a very good start on that. Go to our website and see the blog posts that accompany this video series, and hear more about my adventure of starting a new lawn from seed.